Hello and welcome to Mind Your Mind podcast. Here in Mind Your Mind podcast, we talk about life, mind, universe, everything, and absolutely nothing at all. My name is Ozan Kulju. As always, I have the amazing Henna here. Hi, Henna.
Hello.
And we have a guest who is Anita Gusztafik. She is the creator of CityYogi, and she's a professional certified coach by ICF. And you might recognize her surname because she's actually my wife.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a couple on the show now.
Believe it or not,
Yes.
it's hard to be married to a coach.
Is it?
Blessing in disguise.
Well, so wonderful to have you both together in this episode. It's going to be interesting, I'm sure. So let's go ahead.
Yes, thank you for having me and hello everyone.
So we are excited to talk about your project, CityYogi. It's a very unique name, but I think I can make some sense out of the name itself. So would you like to elaborate more on what it is about?
Yeah, of course, but now you made me curious that what do you think by the name? What is that?
Okay, so just going by the name, city means hustle, bustle, noise, distractions,
Mm.
living amongst too many things, too many people, and a daily routine life. Uh, Yogi is, on the other hand, a spiritual person who wants to run away from distractions and wants to have a clear focus, a clear mind. So a city yogi is perhaps someone who can live amongst the distractions and still be focused and spiritual, remain the way uh, they are. So perhaps that's what I understand from it.
Yes, exactly. You are right. Like you explained it very nicely, and I can resonate with this so much. Basically, this is the meaning what you are telling. I don't know. Shall I say about the story of it a little bit?
Oh, please
Uh,
elaborate.
Actually, how City Yogi was born, it has a long journey, I would say, because it started in 2020 during the COVID time. That I was at home, I was meditating a lot. I had a very deep spiritual journey that time. I completely used the time that we needed to spend at home and couldn't meet friends or family to travel inside, and it was beautiful. And I noticed like how calm I became, how loving I became, and I also noticed even my eating habits changed. I ate less, like I didn't desire so much food, so much distraction, so many things. And I loved that state of being. I just enjoyed it so much. And as COVID was over, we started to go out more. Life became more busy, and I just noticed how I picked up my old habits and how I became like rushy and overthinking again and distracted again. How my eating habits changed again, and I desired to eat more sweets and more unhealthy food, all these things. And I was like, oh no, I want back my spiritual state and that calm and peace and that yogi mode. And but I was like, okay, the world requires me to do something different. So what do I do? And and actually the last point of when this whole picture came together was that I went to a workshop, and the man who was facilitating the session, he went to Tibet before and he learned meditation and all this stuff from the monks in Tibet. And and I told him my concern that how do I survive in this busy, rushing, crazy world when I just want to be loving and caring and spiritual and calm and centered and in harmony. And it just seems like impossible to bring these two together. And he told me that the monks in Tibet actually told him that they respect very much the practitioners in the West because for them it is easy. They are there on the mountain, in the temple, they are calm, they are peaceful, they receive their food, and all they need to do is meditate. But we in the West, we need to go out to the street and deal with all the noise, all the distractions, what you mentioned all. And I think this idea that these monks are respecting us just somehow led me to figure out CityYogi, and actually it came through a meditation, to be honest. So this is the story of CityYogi, and it represents this centered, aware, harmonious self in the city, in the noise, in the distractions, and I believe that we all have that, and it can reveal this self.
Wonderful. I think that was so beautiful what you just said, that the monks respected the people in the West who are trying to remain centered amongst all the distractions. Because isn't that the true test of, you know, are you really focused? Because if your surroundings are peaceful and you are in the mountains, you have no distractions, it's easy to center yourself, to think, to be peaceful, and to not have those extra waste thoughts in your mind, because everything around you is so peaceful. It becomes easy, and there are obviously very less challenges to tackle. The true test of your real practice, how much of it have you really gained, is when you are living amongst the people you don't like, you're doing the things that you don't like,
Yeah.
and you are still being able to be yourself.
It's like finally
Yeah, that's
reaching the state when your environment doesn't determine you, and it's a very powerful state to be in, I believe.
It's
right.
kind of
It
like the
makes you
middle
more
way, no?
strong.
Like in Buddhism.
Yes, yes, I have studied of a similar thing in Buddhism, because you don't have everybody is a Buddha, and you can, it's not necessary that you discover your inner Buddha only when you are sitting under a tree or on the mountains and meditating without any distractions. You can be a Buddha in your day-to-day life, when you're doing your daily chores and when you are in a routine with different sort of people with different sort of mentality, and you can still be yourself. You can still discover that inner Buddha in you, and you can still tame your mind and remain centered. This is the real training that Buddhism is. So it says that everybody is a Buddha, and we must chant for our and others Buddhahood. So yeah, I think that's very similar, and it resonates with me because
Exactly.
I practice Buddhism. Anita, you also mentioned that at the time of COVID, when you were stuck in the lockdown, that was a time for you of self discovery. You discovered a different side of yourself, and that's how you also came up with this idea. But explain to us how the self discovery happened, and what led you to coach yourself, and then perhaps move on with this coaching as a practice for others.
Yes, I was already a coach in 2020. I'm a coach since 2017, and actually I've worked a lot in corporate environments, so I know the chaos part of the story very well, and and it was always part of my practice to coach myself and start to ask questions from myself, and I think that leads to like awareness, which is, I think, the key point in having this Buddha or City Yogi or whatever, to raise your awareness, and asking question from myself was always part of my practice. And meditation also built in, thanks to my dear mentor. I am very grateful for her. She has Indian origins, so I learned a lot about meditation and yoga, next to the coaching from her. And during COVID, I believe it's just the situation, the environment gave me more time to practice. And it's like having the opportunity to sit in meditation for 1 hour in the morning. That's really this COVID-less world is not allowing
Yes,
us to do that.
I
So,
agree.
yeah,
I think I loved having too much time during the lockdown. That was the best part about the lockdown. Of course, there were challenges. There were other people who were suffering, and
of course,
we were the lucky ones to be at home.
exactly.
But at the same time, the people who were at home, I think it was a real blessing for them because that's when most of us discovered a side of ourselves that we didn't know before.
For
And
sure.
That
yeah,
just
and
shows that we just don't slow down and be with
right.
ourselves, right? Like,
And we were forced to slow down at that time.
yeah, and I think the key point was like you were not missing out that time. You know, it's not like everybody's meeting and you're staying home. You know, everybody's staying home, so you're comfortable.
And
Totally, totally.
I don't know how you felt, but I did feel that infinite energy around is just generally calmer and more peaceful. And of course, sometimes I'm really having guilt talking about how deep spiritual journey I had during COVID because I feel deeply sorry for everyone who struggled, who passed away, who were sick and struggling a lot.
Mm.
But still, like we got the results from the researchers that as we stopped the planes and everything, how also the nature started to bloom again. It felt like the whole earth just took a deep breath. And I think it was sensible in the energy everywhere around.
Sometimes you need setbacks to grow in life, to to become better, better versions of ourselves.
And actually, to be honest, all the growth starts with a setback. So you need to be uncomfortable. At least this is what I see in the coaching, that you need to have an uncomfortable situation in order to think that, okay, I want to change, I want to do something different, I want to find solutions. And that's where coaching comes in, when someone is seeking for something different than what is in the present moment.
Aligned with you on that. And so you talked about yoga. Uh, what exactly is yoga? We understand yoga as a physical exercise. Most of us understand yoga as a physical exercise. But what is the mental aspect? The what is the yoga for mind? What exactly does a yoga mean in terms of spirituality, in terms of mental health, and who is a real yogi?
Hmm. I'm not sure that I am the one who sets the definition for who is the real yogi or what is the real yoga. I don't really feel entitled in the moment to make such like definitions. I am happy to share my ideas, and I think that it is very important, as you say, that we think about yoga as like physical exercise, but it's a lot more than that, and like connecting your breath, your soul, your mind, your thoughts, and noticing how the thoughts impact even a joint, or how thoughts impact your gut, or your
Hmm.
breathing, or your emotions. How when you get excited, just be aware how shallow your breath becomes, and like how you feel, and all these things, like your body, your emotions, your thoughts, just getting aligned. And I think through yoga, you you can raise your awareness on these, and you can understand, because I think it's very, very important to understand our body. And I bring a lot also into my coaching practice to like pay attention to the body, because the body is the one that is always signing a lot earlier that we can form a sentence about our emotional thoughts. Our body is there, our gut is signing, our shoulders are signing, everything is signing in our body, but do we notice? Do we notice it enough? And do we listen enough? And I believe practicing yoga is sharpening that sense of yours to pay attention what your body is trying to tell you.
All right. So it's like, again, we come back to slowing down and paying attention to your mind, your breathing, your thoughts, everything, because of course there are so many distractions around us. And when we are doing yoga, uh, that is the best time to relax your mind. When you're relaxing your body, your mind also automatically gets relaxed, your heart rate slows down, and that's the best time to pay attention to what you are thinking, and perhaps filter out the negative stuff, and yeah,
Yes.
focus
Yeah,
more on the positive.
I especially like how you explained the connecting with the body and how the body feels before you can actually put sentences around it, because that's something I think like it's very easy to omit this body signs because you have a little of separation, like its body is feeling that way, you have pain or something like that, you're uncomfortable and you just disconnect it from the mind. And you don't realize like most of the signs body is giving is caused by some sort of emotion, either trapped or not listened. So it's very
Mhm.
important to connect with the body and see the patterns of, I don't know, when your jaw is clenched or whenever your gut doesn't feel right, or whenever your stomach has some things, or also the positive signs. It's good to realize those things.
The wisdom of the
Yes.
body, huh?
Yeah, much smarter than the mind.
So isn't this exactly what a coach does to us? Like, when when we find a coach, this is the thing we look for, someone who can slow us down and someone who can make us reflect on our own self.
Yes, kind of. It
Isn't
is.
Yeah.
It is as coach. I mean, I don't want to speak on the behalf of all the coaches because there are many, many in our world. But
Yeah.
speaking for myself, I think what I do is that I create a space where you can be yourself, where there is absolutely no judgment, where you can reflect as you say, and it's okay if you know, it's okay if you don't know, it's okay if you need time, it's okay to be in silence for a few minutes if that is necessary. It's all about you. You, as a coach, I empower the clients, I help them remember that they are able, they are resourceful, they are whole, they they have the wisdom. And it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you are a executive or you are working in a factory. I coached from blue collars to top managers. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter. In the end of the day, we are human beings, and to
Right.
tap into that is what I'm aiming for, to provide space and be available as a coach to provide that space where people can tap into this human side of them, the wisdom, and reveal that centered self, peaceful self which City Yogi represents.
At the end, we all are human beings, and that's what we need to remember. I
Yes.
think that is the bottom line of everything. Because most of the anxieties, most of the stress arises from the fact that we forget that we are all the same at the end. We're so clouded by thoughts like status quo and uh, someone's better than me, or I need to be better than someone. I think these are the thoughts that deviate us from the real purpose of life, and we get so absorbed in competition that it drains us out. And we just need to remember that we all are the same. We are just having a different journey of life.
Exactly, and that's where city comes in because the word is actually motivating us a lot to be in this state of competition, comparing. You are there, I am here, I am not good enough, you are better. All these narratives are going on, and I think the word is really fueling that. And that's where
Mm.
awareness comes in because once you are aware of your wise self, you don't let these to impact you with that these things that are coming from the outer world to compare yourself and oh you are slow, oh you shouldn't be here in the age of 30, in the age of 40 you should have done this. These are the outside voices that if you have the awareness you can handle.
So true. So true.
Yeah, we all have the same emotions, don't we? Like that's something we forget it most of the time, but the human mind is actually so complex, yet it's so simple. It's based on a couple of emotions, and you're not, you're meant to feel all the anger, guilt, fear, along with happiness and so on like that. But everybody is pretty much the same. Their traumas might be different, their environment might be different, but they have to do might be different. But still, we all have the same needs to fulfill. And yeah, we forget that sometimes, I think. And then we get caught off in in the city, right? To
Yeah.
own
Yeah.
more, to be more, ego.
Right.
Yeah, and this is what I call that people are just living different dimensions of life. And we can shift dimensions that serves us more.
True. I think that was really insightful. And, the word city yogi itself is so catchy that, we often focus more on the city part and the yogi part gets ignored. But combining the two, I think we need to pay equal attention to both because both are equally important. We just can't be yogis in a city, and we just can't be city dwellers without having a spiritual side to us. So I think both of them fit so well together, and
Exactly.
that's the balance. That's the real balance of life.
And
Yeah.
that's one of the most things I hear, like people who are too busy to I don't know, deal with themselves. Whenever, for example, you bring meditation, like to any of my friends, for example, I don't have time for that. Like I'm busy, I have work to do, like everybody who takes care of themselves have nothing to do and they're just sitting and drinking
Mm.
their tea, looking at the Himalayas. That's not the case, is it?
Actually, the whole life can become meditation. Once you practiced enough, you notice that meditation is always there. Peace of mind is always there. It's just are you allowing the circumstances, the environment to take you out from the state of meditation, or you keep that state and you operate from that because meditation doesn't mean that you are silent and you don't speak at all or you don't pay attention to another person. Meditation means that you are in a state where you are noticing and feeling and embracing the other human being and the situation you are in a way deeper level than if you are not in a meditative state, I believe.
No, that's a good one. Yeah. And I think it's all about finding a balance, right? Like, so there are
Mm.
times in my life which I felt so spiritual, and there are times in my life which I felt kind of away from it because it's really easy to go from one extreme to another and forget about things because, yeah, either you're busy or you're spiritual, so you don't care about some things. But it's important to like for them to coexist in a level. I think that's where the complexity of this whole city concept lies in.
Mm.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And uh, one very important thing, that because you are a coach yourself, Anita, I would like to ask you, for our listeners, on behalf of our listeners, I would like to uh, understand, how do we choose a coach who is good for us. Like, because we all sometimes we know that we need someone to help us, but we really don't know what to look for. So what are the things that we must look for when we are trying to find a coach who can help us?
It's a very important question, and I think many people are struggling with this to find the right person. And actually, I would like to invite everyone to just actually go and meet people, and it's okay if you don't find the right person for the first time. Actually, most of the coaches have their own topic, own style, own focus area, which you can find on their website, their Instagram. But also there are many coaches. Uh, so I think the most important thing is to have the connection. Like it happens, you know that feeling when someone is just pulling you, that you want to connect with that person. Like pay
Mhm.
attention, how do you feel that? And when you are checking coaches and when you want to change, like pay attention to that. And most of the coaches, professional coaches, they offer a free introductory meeting, and you have no obligation after. So really feel free to use that, get an appointment, talk to the person, pay attention to yourself, how you feel in the presence of the coach, and ask yourself that, is this the person I want to open up and I want to get questions from? And if your answer is yes, then you go with the person. If no, then you find another one and accept that it's okay if it's a process to find the best person for yourself. Thankfully, there are many coaches, so just don't give up and find your own, and don't be tricked by focus areas or something, because it's just somehow we have to put ourselves out there. But there is a lot more to a coach than a brand, which is seen from the outside.
Makes sense. Thank you for those tips. They were useful. And do we have any more questions, Ozan?
I would maybe also for the listeners to imagine better how does the coaching process look like?
Mm.
What do they face when they start a coaching?
Mm. Um, I'm thinking like I don't want to talk about yet universal truths. So I am a ICF credentialed coach. I work through the ICF competencies and ICF ethics. ICF stands for International Coaching Federation, and um, and I say from that point of view. And it can happen that another coach will tell you a different thing. So I just would like to make it clear that I am speaking from this point of view. And a coaching session, a coaching process mostly starts with an introductory meeting, as I mentioned, and we call it chemistry check. If the chemistry is good, then we start the process. And it's up to the client that what is the topic, what is the goal. But I think what is like what is different also, like coaching from therapy, that in coaching we have a very clear goal, like what the coachee, the client wants to reach by the end of the process. So first we set that the goal of the process, and then in each session, which is it can be 60 to 90-minute session, we set a goal for the session, which is somehow related to the big picture. And it's also okay to change during the journey, because might come up on the second or third session that, hey, my topic is not the topic that I brought in the beginning, because it happens once you start to work on it. And we can just talk about it and make a new agreement about the goals. But it's like coaching is very goal oriented. So the coach will always support the client to set a goal, to set a direction where the conversation is going towards. And during the coaching session, the coach, I think the most important thing is that don't expect an advice from the coach. I mean, at least from ICF coaches, for sure. No advice involved. We won't, or I won't tell you what to do, because I believe that I don't know better than you. How can I be an expert of your life? You are the expert of your own life, and I respect that. So I support with questions, with reflections. I give a very honest mirror. I point out patterns I hear through the session and ask how does it land? How does it make you feel? So the coachee, the client always has the opportunity to say that, that doesn't resonate, or this is not the direction I want to go to. And it's fine, because we are in partnership, and the client has the right and has the ability to decide what is more important for them. So how one sessions look like in a very practical way is that we are driving, we are talking about the topic or whatever the clients wants to share. We set a direction, a goal for the session, and sometimes I even ask the client, okay, how do you want to explore this topic? And the client says that, oh, maybe it would be nice to do this or that. And this just unfolds. We are dancing, we are traveling, we are co-creating during the session, and like evoking the awareness. It's also an ICF competency. And then in the end, we spend some time on working on like what the client takes away and what will the actions be based on the insights of the session. I think this is also maybe different from a therapy, for example, that we close the session like, okay, what did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about your topic? And how will it impact your actions after our session? And so it's like there is an action plan or practice the client says or forms by the end of the session, and it is the client's responsibility if they actually use it after the session or not. So somehow like this, and please help me because I am so much in it, like, right, that does it make sense what I just said, or can you imagine it?
I've been
Yes,
in
yes,
one.
you were so.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, Anita, there's another thing that came to my mind while you were speaking, that uh, there's therapy and then there's coaching. There is a belief that therapy is more serious uh, compared to coaching. Coaching is more of a, you know, a space where you can just talk freely and discuss things, whereas a therapy is something when you are when you are in serious need for help, or when you are damaged, that's when you seek a therapist. How true is that? And what are the real differences that distinguish therapy and coaching, and how would you know that whether you need a coach or a therapist?
It's again a very, very important question, and thank you for that. And you use the word like serious and damaged. And
Yeah.
I notice how my body reacts to these words, that like therapy is more serious and the person is damaged. And I notice a sense of like resistance in my body towards these words and connecting with therapy, because I wouldn't use these words in the context of like comparing coaching and therapy, because I think
Okay.
both works are very serious. Like we are working with humans, with human souls, and approach a human soul and a human being and like a whole being and existence. It's a blessed and it's an honored state, I believe. You use the methodology of therapy or the methodology of coaching. It gives a difference, but in the end of the day, the human being is sitting in front of you, is ready to open up to you. And let's respect that very much. And both are very serious, I believe. Um, so both are serious, and I don't think that anyone is damaged, or I don't really approach like that to people. Of course, to therapy, to psychotherapy, especially people with like severe depression or some mental disorder, mental illness will go to psychotherapy. And as coaches, we don't work with them. Definitely, they might need medicine, they might need constant treatment. Um, and also to psychologists, people go to talk about the traumas, understand themselves through their childhood or young adulthood experiences. And in coaching, we don't do these things. First of all, in coaching, we don't diagnose at all. So even if we have the sense that something is not all right, we won't tell a client that, oh yeah, you have bipolar disorder, please go to psychotherapist. That's not gonna happen for sure because it's not our call to do that. So we don't diagnose and we don't work with the traumas in a way to like reveal traumas and process traumas. And it's very important that we can work with the past in coaching, but only for the moment to understand something in the present. But if we see that the client is constantly going back to that certain point of the past, or it really comes to like something relationship with parents like very deep, then we do suggest, and ethically it's the requirement to tell the client that maybe in the coaching is not the right methodology to use. So as coaches, we will say we can have like another 60-minute session, I think, on what are those differences and when do we say. So maybe I wouldn't go into detail in that, but I can say that that it's our duty to inform the client if coaching is not the best methodology in our opinion, and we suggest to go to therapy or psychotherapy or just another person who can support them.
Does it make sense if a person is not sure if whether they need therapy or coaching and they reach out a coach, you or any other coach? Do you say in these zero meetings if you should go to therapy instead of coaching, or?
Yeah, of course. If it's clear on the zero meeting, the introductory meeting, it becomes clear that maybe it is not something that can be done by using purely coaching, then I would raise it, definitely. Sometimes it doesn't really come out because sometimes it's tricky because what people recognize in their daily life is that I can't manage my time. I want to be more patient. I want to delegate better. I want to communicate better. I want to solve a conflict. I want to feel comfortable in my new position. So these are on the surface. And these okay, coaching topic, we can talk about it. But then when we start to explore, it might come out that actually what is stopping the client to reach the goal is actually not like a shift or a new practice to build in or a new mindset to embrace, but it's a trauma or that blocks the person that needs to be processed and worked through in order to be able to build up that different behavior, what he needs.
So you do go to the root cause of the things, not just leave it in the actions. What is behind the actions?
And it's I don't know how much it is a me thing. It happened like I work with clients a lot who finished like years of therapy and then they come to coaching because they are very self-reflective. They know a lot about themselves, but they want it to be a little bit more practical, like how to implement things into their daily life. And it also happens that my clients are going to therapy eventually because we tap into into that point that we both agree that this is not coaching anymore. So yeah, I know both sides how it is to work with someone after therapy and how it is to let the client go to therapy.
Well, yeah.
Got it.
Actually, before we finalize this one, actually, I want to ask you, maybe you can talk about how the listeners can reach out to you, either for coaching or just by learning the coaching or learn more about the CityYogi.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I have website, I have Instagram, Facebook. If you type City Yogi Coaching, for sure you will find all these things and feel
I will
free.
find it in the description somewhere below also.
Yeah. So just feel free to reach out, send a private message. I really don't want to give a message or the look of a very formal person who is completely unreachable. I am reachable. I am always reachable to my clients, to my mentees, to my supervisees, to everyone. So I believe that this is how we can connect on a human level. So just feel free, ask, and let's connect, let's talk, and let's see what comes out of it.
Thank you for this wonderful chat, Anita. I think we discovered a lot of things, and we touched upon a lot of things that were very important, very relevant. And with this, we also took our Mind Your Mind series a notch above, because we have now, I don't know, at the cost of sounding controversial again, we have now delved into a more serious category of therapy and coaching, and some things that need more attention and which are so very relevant and less talked about. So thank you so much for such insights that you gave us, and it was lovely chatting with you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I am so grateful for being able to share these thoughts, and I hope it will be useful for others too. And thank you for having me here. It was a really, really nice and friendly and funny space. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you joining the podcast, Anita, but I don't appreciate you stealing my microphone. I'm looking forward to having it back for the next episode, but it was good to have you.
You will get it back, I promise. I spoke more this time.
Yeah, that's why I let you know.
Thank you.
Well, then
Right.
see you in the next episodes. Bye.
Yes. See you too, and thank you so much. Take care, both of you and our listeners, and keep listening to us.
Yes, yes. Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.